Peeps, good day. Welcome back. Welcome back to your boy Maxi TV. You don't know it's your boy Maxi. Yeah, man, I would just want to bless up each and every one, you know. I know if you do the right thing already. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. You don't know the thing. Well, today we're going to talk about shift workers, you know, as a shift worker. We're going to talk about the disadvantages of being a shift worker. Yeah. So, the number one disadvantage of being a shift worker is lack of sleep. When you say lack of sleep, you know, your sleeping pattern change. So, you get less sleep, you're getting less sleep. So, your sleeping pattern will change. So, you start feel lazy, you're going to look a little bit older. Your features, the physical features going to change a bit. Yeah, so lack of sleep is the number one disadvantage of being a shift worker, night shift worker. Yeah, so lack of sleep, yeah, that's one of the major disadvantage of being a shift worker. As I say, your sleeping pattern change. Yeah, so this week you're on maybe 3 to 11, and then next week you're on 11 to 7 a.m. So you know your sleeping pattern is going to change. Alright, the second disadvantage of being a shift worker is you're prone to a lot of chronic illnesses. For example, diabetes, heart problems, high blood pressure, high cholesterol. Yeah, you're prone to a lot of chronic illness. Reason being is your eating habit change. You're not eating as healthy as how you eat, and you're not eating on time. Yeah, so that's the second. The fourth disadvantage of being a shift worker is you start to develop stomach problems slash organ problems. So the reason for this is that you're not eating on time, and you're not eating your 3 full meals a day or 2 full meals a day or drinking tea and all of that. So yeah, so that's another disadvantage of being a night shift worker. Bad eating habit and not eating healthy enough. So your body eating habit, that because your diet change and you're not eating on time. Stuff like that. Next disadvantage of being a shift worker is not eating good food choice. Not having good food choice. For example, you know, you get up to go to work 11 o'clock. You just grab some fries or some chicken or some fried food or a sandwich that is not healthy. So that's the next one. Bad food choice. The next disadvantage of being a shift worker is you're prone to taking drugs or slash alcohol. Yeah, that's another disadvantage of being a shift worker. One of the reasons being is that you cannot sleep when you get the time to sleep. So you take drugs to sleep or you drink alcohol to sleep. The next thing of being a shift worker, disadvantage of being a shift worker is you take medication or you're taking things to sleep. Or you're taking things to make you stay awake. For example, you're drinking energy drinks, you're drinking a lot of coffee, which is not good for you, caffeine, or you're taking a lot of medication to fall asleep. So that's another disadvantage of being a shift worker. Because of your sleeping pattern change, so you start to take things to make you stay awake or to fall asleep. The next one is the next disadvantage of being a shift worker is nerves problem. You start to develop nerves problems because of the lack of sleep out in the night dew. Yeah, that's another one. You start to develop nerves problems. Being a That's another disadvantage of being a night shift worker. Next disadvantage is lack of family time. Kids gone to school, the wife or your spouse gone to work. When they are home, you're sleeping or you are getting ready to go to work. So that's another disadvantage, lack of family time. Not spending quality time with your family or not seeing your family as often as though you'd have liked to see them. And next disadvantage of being a shift worker is relationship, marital, marriage problems. Yeah, because of not seeing each other, you don't get to communicate a lot or communicate face to face. So that's another disadvantage. You have a lot of family problems or relationship problems arise. Another disadvantage of being a night shift worker, you miss a lot of functions, a lot of family functions and important functions. For example, you have family dinner, family get together, anniversaries, church, parties, whatever the function may be. Because you're a night shift worker, you're at work most of the time and you don't get time off, night off to attend these functions. Or you'll be sleeping while these functions are going on. So as I said before, these are some of the disadvantages of being a night shift worker. Another disadvantage of being a shift worker is mental health issues. Night shift workers tend to are prone to more to have mental health issues because of lack of sleep disruption, and all of that. You are more likely to have mental health issues. That's another disadvantage of being a shift worker. Another disadvantage of being a shift worker is increased risk of having accidents, whether at work or off the work. Because of the sleep imbalance and the sleep disruptions, you are less alert, more fatigued. So that's another disadvantage of being a shift worker. Increased risk of accidents. Another disadvantage of being a night shift worker is digestive issues, stomach issues. Because as I said earlier, and you're not eating healthy, you're not eating on time, and eating the right food and the right amount of food. Yeah, that's another disadvantage. So you are prone to have digestive issues. Another disadvantage of being a shift worker, a night shift worker, is, you know what that means, obesity. Put on a lot of weight because you're eating unhealthy food and you don't eat the correct meal and you're missing some meals. So shift workers tend to be obese, and that's the reason for eating a lot of salt food, fried food, readily quick available food to eat. Another disadvantage of being a night shift worker is mood swings, mood change, because you're not getting enough sleep, especially during the daytime when you should be sleeping. A lot of disturbances, noises, you have commitments to attend to. Is mood change. Your mood change, you are more aggressive. Some people say you are more miserable. Yeah, that's another disadvantage of being a shift worker. So yes, my people, that's some of the disadvantages of being a night shift worker like myself. As I said before, it's a boy Maxi. You're watching Maxi TV. We do vlogs, interviews, challenges. So like, share, comment and subscribe. And big up on yourself again and continue to give us the strength. As I said before, subscribe and like, share and comment. Maxi TV. As I said, today's topic was some of the disadvantages of being a night shift worker. Have yourselves a blessed day.